100,000 voices shook Northern Ireland as migrant hotels were forced to shut down. This wasn't a headline, this was a rupture. Banners replaced silence, voices replaced routine. Crowds didn't gather for one cause, but because something snapped. A pressure point long building now breaking. This is not a coordinated parade with scripted speeches. This is frustration without permission, unease without editing, a movement built in hours, carried by live streams, voice notes, and word of mouth. And when images show hotels closing their doors, contracts disrupted, and convoys moving through the night, the public reads it in one way. Not as administration, but reaction. See, Northern Ireland isn't asking what happens next. Northern Ireland is forcing the world to watch it happen. The night the hotels went dark. It starts, as these nights always do now, with a rumour. Someone posts that a hotel contract is being pulled early. Another claims buses are being sent to move everyone before morning. A screenshot shows a blurred email header stamped urgent. A grainy video catches a line of police vans near a hotel that never used to need them. Within minutes, small knots of people appear at the gates. Locals who've been talking about this for months. Men in high-vis, women pushing prams, a few flags, a chant that doesn't quite stick yet, then the feeds go live. One stream from Belfast shows a swelling crowd and tags it with "Stand Up Tonight." Another from a town most viewers couldn't place on a map scrolls "Share before they stop us." Numbers go from tens to hundreds to thousands. Someone somewhere types it. There's over 100,000 of us out here. They do not count. They declare. The claim jumps faster than any official can correct it. Belfast is joined by Derry, then Antrim, then towns whose names are half covered by shaky camera work. A map appears on one channel, pins lighting up across Northern Ireland like a flare path. People who weren't planning to leave their house put on a coat. People who said they wouldn't get involved are now checking how far the nearest migrant hotel is. Within hours, the hotels are no longer just places. They're coordinates. At one site, the lights in the lobby click off earlier than usual. At another, the revolving door is locked and a handwritten sign appears about maintenance. At a third, side gates swing open and a coach reverses in. To the crowd, the sequence is obvious. They came, the state folded. While they chant, sing, film, argue, the buildings begin to disappear behind tinted glass, temporary fencing and half-truths. The night the hotels went dark is not an accident. It looks like a response, but the story outside is only one half of the picture. Behind the chanting, past the cameras, beyond the crowd that believes it changed the night, there are rooms where the noise fades, but the consequences land hardest. And that part of the story isn't shouted through megaphones. It begins with a knock on a door. Inside the rooms. Inside there are no chants, only zips and buzzing phones. A child kneels at a window watching blue lights wash across the car park like a weather system passing through. He has learned to read sirens the way other children read clocks. His mother packs quietly, folding clothes into a suitcase that has never truly been unpacked. She has heard temporary before. It never means short. Down the hall, a man watches live footage of the protest outside his own building. The comments call him a crisis, a cost, a secret plan. He lowers the volume. The words still land. None of the people in these rooms chose the hotel, the town, or the role they were given in someone else's argument. They came because a form told them to, and they stayed because files move slowly and uncertainty moves fast. Outside, crowds chant that the hotels are collapsing. Inside, people are simply being moved again. But the gap isn't just between outside and in. It's between voices that shout the same chant for completely different reasons.
I don't believe it's right for illegal immigrants to burn their stuff on a dinghy and then say death to Britain, death to kids.
But are they saying that?
Yeah, they are.
Well, I've seen no evidence of it.
They are. They are saying that.
Yeah,
I've seen evidence.
This isn't just a story, it's a mirror. Who gets to define crisis and who gets to live through it? If this made you pause, keep reading. How do you think narratives shift depending on who's telling them? Drop a comment below, hit subscribe and tap the like button to keep these stories coming. Faces in the flood. From a distance, the protest looks like one single mass, one single mood. That's the safest illusion. Up close, it fragments. A veteran walks at the front, shoulders squared. Medals pinned to an old blazer. He talks about promises broken, charities overwhelmed, friends sleeping on sofas while hotels are ringed with security. He says he marched once for his country abroad and now marches for it at home. Behind him, a woman in a supermarket fleece pushes a buggy with one hand and grips a cardboard sign with the other. House our own first. Her rent has gone up 3 times. Her place on the social housing list might as well be carved in stone. She does not hate anyone in those hotels. She simply no longer believes anyone in charge remembers she exists. Next to her, the cafe owner whose lunchtime trade dried up when the hotel filled with people who have no money to spend and stories that drive others away. In his head, it's simple maths. Full hotel, empty tables, rising bills. A little further back, a young man holds his phone high, narrating every push and flare, every chant, every police instruction. The protest is his content. The crowd is his backdrop. The algorithm is watching, and he knows exactly which words will keep viewers scrolling.
There was a large police presence, but they couldn't prevent the two from clashing. Arrests were made.
Across the police line, another group stands facing them. Refugees welcome on banners. Local church volunteers in fluorescent vests. Students who have read too much history to be comfortable with the volume of this anger. Lawyers and charity workers who have seen the paperwork and know how badly the system is breaking people who never asked to be symbols. Both sides say they are defending their community. Both speak of safety, decency, futures. They stare at each other over the helmets and high-vis jackets of officers who are simply hoping this doesn't turn into another clip people will argue about for weeks. As their voices rise, something else rises with them, the number.
In Surrey, protesters have gathered outside a hotel they say is housing asylum seekers.
It's us that's paying for this.
Yeah, definitely.
And there doesn't seem to be a plan with this government.
Enough's enough. I'd love to be put up in a hotel free of charge.
But their presence has been met by others who hold a very different view. And at times, things got a little bit ugly.
The 100,000. By midnight, 100,000 is no longer a claim, it is a character. It appears in chat overlays and cheap graphics. It sits in block capitals over a drone shot that could be from anywhere. It flashes at the bottom of a live feed with no logo. Journalists talk about large crowds and significant unrest. Police sources mutter other figures. But their voices are slow and conditional, and the number is fast and absolute. 100,000. It is repeated into megaphones, typed into captions. shouted to passing cameras by people who heard it 5 seconds earlier from someone else's phone. You can see the pride when they say it. It sounds like scale. It sounds like power. In living rooms miles away, the number does its work. It tells people who stayed home that something massive is happening without them. It tells supporters they are not fringe, they are legion. It tells opponents that ignoring this will cost them. The truth is that no one in these streets has counted. The truth is that no live stream lens can honestly capture exact scale. The truth is that by the time anyone produces an estimate, it won't matter. The 100,000 has moved from mathematics to mythology. It is not there to describe the crowd. It is there to define it. And once the number sticks, the story splinters. What's filmed becomes proof. What's reposted becomes fact. And what happens next gets filtered through 100 versions of truth. Distorted signal. Alongside the real footage, imitation spreads faster than verification.
Politics too toxic.
Politics is very toxic nowadays.
I think it's more in your face now because of technology, TV, face.
So it's more out in the open
yeah,
now,
it's more now. So I think you find it.
An old video from another country is relabelled Belfast Tonight. A scheduled bus transfer becomes mass removals underway. A minor scuffle is cloned across feeds as proof the whole system is burning. Every side edits the moment to match the conclusion they already reached. Accuracy arrives late, faint, and optional. Outrage arrives first, roaring and rehearsed. Labels like missing context appear under some posts, quiet footnotes under louder claims. But context scrolls poorly. Certainty does numbers. But in rooms far from the feeds, where stories aren't told but managed decisions are being made in quieter voices, behind thicker walls.
I feel quite a little bit frightened being here.
Frightened of what?
Just the atmosphere and everything, being put in a position that you have to come and join a protest, try and get the government to listen to you. I'm a 60-year-old mum, I work 40 hours a week, and nobody gives me anything free. You just want fair.
Rooms of power, far from the chance. In rooms washed with white light, other screens are glowing. Maps of Northern Ireland on a wall, dotted with markers showing crowds, roadblocks, redirected traffic, not for public consumption, just for the people who have to make sure no one dies. Briefings stack up, hotels emptied, hotels still occupied, threats reported, rumours disproved, one bad decision away from a spiral. Police commanders talk in careful phrases: restraint, proportionality, preventing escalation. Civil servants and ministers talk in different careful phrases: cost, pressure, optics, precedent. For months, the use of hotels has been politically toxic, expensive, visible and vulnerable to exactly this kind of backlash. Reports about spiralling bills and mismanaged contracts have already done damage. Now, those numbers have faces in the streets and flares above the roofs. Some argue this is precisely why the system must be unwound faster. Move people out, close the hotels, show you listened. Others warn that collapsing a fragile accommodation network in response to a wave of protest will set a dangerous template. If shouting outside a building gets a policy scrapped, more shouting will follow. The 100,000, real or not, sits in the corner of every conversation. Stability or surrender, security or sympathy, enforcement or reform. Tonight, it is not clear which side will win inside these rooms, and by morning, the damage isn't just political. It's logistical, it's emotional, it's already showing up in bus routes, booking systems, and broken trust. Aftershock. By first light, the shouting fades, but the consequences don't. Some hotel doors stay shut, others reopen cautiously. Blinds half drawn, lights dimmed. Official statements surface with familiar language. Operational adjustments, logistical review, pre-planned transitions, each careful to disconnect closure from crowd or pressure. On pavements still littered with placards and coffee cups, people read the situation differently. Some see evidence of impact: the silent car parks where coaches once queued, the doors locked hours ahead of schedule. Others see instability piled on to existing instability. A system overloaded long before anyone gathered outside it. On screens, both interpretations expand at equal speed. One moment, many headlines. One night, many truths, none erased by the other. This is the nature of the era. Events unfold once, but they are lived 1,000 different ways. Not one story owns the night, not one explanation closes it. What's clear is this: something shifted. Whether by momentum, mismanagement, pressure, or fracture, the status quo did not hold. And the next moment, the next crowd, the next reaction is already loading. So here's the question now, not for ministers or reporters, but for you. What do you think this moment really signalled? A system overstretched, a community unheard, or something bigger forming under the surface? Share your thoughts, add your voice below in the comments, and if you want more breakdowns behind the headlines, hit like, subscribe, and stay with us. There's more story coming.